When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode. Hello, folks. This is Mark Ludlow with the Fearless Mindset Podcast, and today we got the author of, I forget how many books, Lynda Sunshine West. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thank you so much. Yeah, lots of them. I'm on number 10 and working on numbers 11 and 12 right now. So super excited about what's going on. The book world is something I never imagined I would be in at all, because I've always said my whole life, I'm not a writer. And so to be doing it now is like, this is my primary source of income, is publishing books and helping people to get their stories out there as well. So it's an incredible journey for sure.
Now, before you're an author, weren't you education? Is that correct? Education?
No, in the legal field. I was legal secretary. Okay. Yeah.
So legal secretary to now author. Two different roles.
Author and publisher. Yeah. Completely different. In the legal field, everything's very structured. Like the way everything runs is very structured. So I got to learn those types of, like that type of mentality, to port it over to the publishing world. So there's a lot of experiences I've had in my life. I've had over 49 jobs. Legal is just 20 years of it. I've had many other jobs as well. But all of those experiences, they port over to what I'm doing today. And I'm grateful for all of it. And it's just not my world anymore, You
don't miss it. You're having a ball doing this now, aren't you? You're having a blast.
I don't miss it at all. It was, that was a means to an end. That was a way to make money. And this here is not about making the money. This is about sharing the stories. It's so important for me because, when I met you in a clubhouse room, and I heard you sharing your story about your dad and, his brain cancer. And then your Fearless Mindset podcast. I was like, you're perfect. Your story is perfect for the book, The Fearless Entrepreneurs, which was the book I was working on at that time. And so it is 100% about the story. And my mission is to inspire and motivate people to take action. And these stories is like, this is my way of doing that.
You've done a great job of that, because how many authors do you have in the book that I'm in? I forgot how many authors are in that book.
There's 27 in that book, The Fearless Entrepreneurs, and then 28 in the next book, which is called Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. So that's, coordinating 55 people. The books launched within 8 days of each other. They both became #1 and international best-selling books. So, there was a lot of, I mentioned, in the legal world, there's a lot of details that go into that. And I was able to pull all of that, knowledge and experience into, making both of these books within 8 days apart become #1 international best-selling books.
That takes some genius psychology on your end just to pull that off.
Thank you. I never saw it that way, but yeah, it does. I believe that we're all, brilliant. We all have our brilliance inside of us. And sometimes we're not tapping into it. And I have learned how to tap into that. And that's all I'm doing is I'm pulling out of me what I was born with. And finally, at age 58, I'm finally applying it, in a way that benefits, other people and benefits me at the same time. So it's incredible to move into that space.
I can tell you're just having a blast because I see you on Facebook in your groups. You're on Facebook. She's a publisher, but you're just having a ball bringing people together, and you love to network. So you're a publisher, you're an author, you're a networker, and you're putting it all in one big, huge project. And congratulations, you were just invited to do something with somebody. I just saw
always invited to do something with somebody. And that's, what's interesting about that is I was never the one that was invited to do something with somebody in the past, but because me stepping fully into who I am, bringing my gifts, bringing them out and sharing them with the world, sharing them on Clubhouse, which has been the fastest, oh my gosh, by far the fastest growing platform for me to make connections with people. And I'm a connector. I love connecting other people, collaborating with people. But yeah, I've been, people are reaching out to me, frequently now and saying, I would love to interview you. Will you do this with me? Hey, I'm thinking of doing a book. Will you publish it for me? And just by putting myself out there, people are reaching out to have me be part of what they're doing. And so, yeah, I'm a part of a book series. It's called 13 Steps to Riches. And, Dr. Finance is on Clubhouse. He's really well known on Clubhouse, and he might be known in other circles, but I met him on Clubhouse. He's in that book as well. So what we're doing on that one is we're taking Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, which is known as the Entrepreneur's Bible, and we're taking it one chapter at a time. And then the collaborators in that book, submit a chapter based on their stories related to that particular chapter. So we've done faith, we've done fear, we've done auto suggestion, and then the next one is coming up. I don't know what the title of that one is. I have to look at it. But it's really been interesting distilling down Napoleon Hill's work. And I've been working with masterminds myself, running them for 6 years. So I'm in this arena, this Napoleon Hill arena, so using that knowledge that I've gained through my work life, in corporate 36 years, plus my entrepreneurial journey of 7 years, and applying all of that to the works that we're doing now it's just something I never, ever, ever imagined would be in my trajectory of my life. But here it is, and I'm doing it,
Congrats. You're beaming full of life, and you're like a bright, shiny light out there in the author world, in the book world. And now you have all these invites to do all these extra stuff. Did you ever imagine all this stuff happening to you?
Well, it's interesting because did I ever imagine it prior to all of this? No, not at all. None of it. But as I've been on the journey within this last year or so, because I've had tremendous emotional and mental growth that has happened. I say emotional because I wasn't ready for all of this stuff a couple of years ago. So even if I had been asked, I probably would have shriveled up and died and said, no way, but now I'm ready for every bit of it. And I'm ready to be in the limelight and to shine my bright light. Sunshine is not my given name. It's the name that was given to me during this entrepreneurial journey and growth. And so was I ever ready before? No. Am I ready now? Yes. I actually envision myself being on stages with the likes of Les Brown. So instead of being in the audience listening to the podcast or watching the YouTube video, is to being on that stage, shoulder to shoulder with people like Les Brown. And I see that happening, me on stages, in front of 20,000 people live. And so, yes, now I envision it, but that was not a vision a year ago, but it is now.
What did Lynda have to go through? Let's call them glass doors. What glass doors did you have to shatter to get to where you're at now?
Oh man, lots of them. Most of them were emotional, baggage that I've been carrying around for most of my life. As a child, I grew up in a very volatile, abusive, alcoholic household, like a lot of people. And at 5 years old, I made a stand and I said, I'm not going to live in this household. And I ran away. Well, many kids run away, and a lot of parents, like the mom will pack your lunch and say, don't forget to take your lunch, because they know that you're not going to be gone very long. I was gone for a whole week, 7 days away. And what happened in that 7 days, something that was very important. First of all, I was exercising my freedoms, exercising my rights as a 5-year-old to make a decision for my life. But after a week, my mom, brought me back home. But what happened while I was gone those 7 days is something that shaped the majority of my life. And that is that nobody came to get me. So I had these beliefs that were instilled in my brain at age 5. Nobody wants me around. They don't love me. They don't like me. I had those beliefs were very locked in solid. So when they would make fun of me, because, kids make fun of kids. I was number 4 of 5 kids. And the kids made fun of me. Your nose is this, you're chubby. I had all these things that were said about me that I internalized to, that's right. They don't love me. They don't want me around. They don't like me. And so I carried that belief around with me for 51 years of my life. Because of that, I ended up becoming a people pleaser because I had so much fear if people didn't like me. And I also carried around fear Fear was huge for me. I literally, Mark, I walked around with my tail between my legs and my head bent down. And it's not a figure of speech that I had my head bent down. I literally walked looking at the ground. I wouldn't look anybody in the eyes for decades due to fear. I was riddled with fear because of the abuse in the household. I was riddled with fear because when I came home, it got worse, And so those beliefs that I had were just locked in so tight that when I got on this journey of self-discovery and, remembering that 5-year-old strong, brave little girl, stepping into that, I had a lot to break through, a lot of fears.
What message can you tell the audience? Let's pretend, we're talking to some, 10th graders or junior higher girls, and they're just struggling with Instagram, TikTok, trying to be popular, and they have chaos at home. Dad's beating up my mom, or maybe it's just chaos. What is your advice?
My advice is to, well, first of all, don't get wrapped up in the likes and shares and comments. Really, it's really about getting wrapped up into who you are, who you truly are. And at age 17, you might not really know who that is, but surround yourself with positive, uplifting people, which may sound like, well, I don't know any of those people. They are out there. You just haven't met them yet. So just keep on that path of finding them. Find those mentors, those people who believe in you. There are people who right now in your life, they truly believe in you, but you may not recognize the belief that they have in you. That was me. I was that one who, when people would say good things about me, I would say, oh, well, that's because, like people would say, I like your hair. I'd say, oh, well, that's my mom and dad. I would always, say that it was their hair, not mine. Or, I like the way you say this. And I would always have what I call excuses as to why I was good at something. And I would never own up to it. But just know that you do have tremendous value. And you may not be in a circle of people who believe in you. That's okay. Go find the circles of people who do believe in you and hang out with them. You will completely see your life shift. And that's what happened for me. At 51, don't wait until you're 51. That's another one of my messages, Don't wait until you're 51 to make this discovery. Because I was smart back then, but I never gave myself credit because I had such a toxic environment that I was living in. There were people who believed in me, but I don't think that they knew how to help me to believe in myself. So find those people and then learn to believe in yourself because you are so valuable. You have so much to offer this planet. You just need to believe it so that you can become it.
So you had to change your whole story of who you were, your identity. You had to change that record or that tape that was playing in your head. And once you did that, you found that glass door you can bust through.
Yeah, exactly. And, it was a journey. It was a journey. I hired a life coach. She's who helped me to start chipping away or to kick in the first little tiny door, like the Alice in Wonderland, that little dinky door. Like that was the first door I had to kick in, was a really small one because I was too scared to shatter anything, and she helped me to tap in and say, this is who I am. This is who I am. And not only is it okay, because I hear all the time people say it's okay to show up as who you are. It's not okay. It's imperative. It is crucial for your life, for you to show up as who you are, who you're meant to be on this planet, because you have a role. You have a role to play. And the sooner you can start to play that role, the sooner your life is going to get better. There are people I love to talk about, there are people who grow up in the ghetto and they're now movie stars. There are so many people that have that story. You can have that story too. But sometimes we need somebody outside of us to believe in us, to help us to learn how to believe in ourselves. But when we start to believe in ourselves, that's when we can really, really live our lives as that person. Until then, you're living a lie to yourself and to the rest of the world.
I think people get caught up in the self-believing prophecy, as I've heard. The self-believing prophecy of whatever that message is in their head that they're told when they're an adolescent that they can never do whatever they can't do. And they believe that to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you have to change that messaging in your mind, through coaching or mentorship. You got to reach out to somebody that's a teacher, maybe an educator, maybe a coach, and get that mentorship. You have to go outside your circle of influence. If that circle of influence is toxic and drama and just nothing but noise, you got to go outside that circle of influence you have to reach out to get that mentorship, to change the way you think. Because you yourself can't change the way you think. If you don't have any tools to grasp to change that mechanism in your brain, you got to go find those tools. And people get caught in that self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. And I hear you on that, because I was one of those as well. I had the toxic environment, so I grew up in a toxic household, which made me attract toxic people into my life. My first marriage was to somebody who was extremely toxic. I married someone just like my dad, abusive. And when my kids were, because I had 2 kids with my first husband. And when my daughter was 4 weeks old and my son was 14 months old, I said, no more. I'm not going to grow up in my mom's life. So what I was doing was repeating the pattern of my mom. And so I just made a decision. So I literally walked out. I had a diaper bag. I had a purse. I had a child on my hip and a child in a baby carrying case. And I walked out. I didn't have a car. So I literally walked out because I was not going to live that environment anymore. I knew there was something better. I didn't know what it was or how I was going to find it, but I knew that was not going to be my life. And that was like the first really, big stand that I made for myself, after 5 years old, running away and gone for a week. That was my next opportunity that I ran away. And it's interesting, as I look back in the patterns of my own life, there was a lot of running away. I've had 49 jobs. You don't have 49 jobs without, either are you running away or are you looking for something different? And so as I looked back on my patterns that started at 5 of running away, I looked at it and I said, wait a minute, I'm not running away from anything. I was running to something. I was running to something better. So when I ran away from my husband, I was running to looking for a better life, looking for a better life for my kids. I didn't want my kids to have the same life that I had. So I was running to something. Every job that I left, I was never fired. So every single job that I left was looking for something better, either whether it was more money, which in those days, a lot of it was because of more money, because I didn't have a purpose. I didn't know why I was here on this planet, but I was always, running to something better, more money, feeling more appreciated, because I never felt appreciated on my jobs, so it's interesting when we change our language. Just like you said, I changed my language. I used to say running away, running away, running away. But what I was really doing was running to something better.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Kudos to you. Pat yourself on the back. You've gone through a lot.
And, I do that on a daily basis. I literally will, like, oh my God, that was so great. You did that. And I pat myself on the back. And again,
Deserve
not figuratively, I actually do it because thank you. It's a lot of work. And you have to be determined to get a result that you're looking for, so that's all it was, is I tapped in big time to my determination to succeed, to determination to become a better person. Lynda Sunshine West. Sunshine's not my given name. It's a name that was given to me after I started working with my life coach. This is a name that has developed because that's who I've become.
And the journey to become what you become, it hasn't been easy, obviously, as you just shared. And you probably didn't think of yourself as an author of multiple books now, being invited to be on the stage with these iconic authors. I mean, holy smokes. But you took the risk. You took that leap of faith off that cliff like an eagle will, jumping off that cliff, that little eaglet, with the hope and faith that the big eagle would catch you as you drop. And, you just went on a faith and becoming fearless. I mean, you're a symbolic of the podcast of being fearless in your mindset, and you did it. You pulled it off. And here you are, Fearless Entrepreneur, the book, and many others. And you're empowering so many women around you with what you're doing with women Action Taker publication and everything else. It's just, it's pretty powerful. You're becoming like a pretty powerful, prominent person in the authorship world.
Yeah, thanks for that. It's interesting for sure, that journey, because I remember the first time I saw it was the Make-A-Wish Foundation founder. His name is Frank Shankwitz. I saw him on stage at an event called Secret Knock. And there he was on stage telling his story about how he founded the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which has granted over 500,000 wishes for children worldwide. I mean, that is astronomical, right? And he said at the very, very end of his talk, he said, if I can do it, anyone can be a hero. And I looked at myself and said, am I a hero? And then I realized in that moment that because of Frank and what he said, it helped me see that I am a hero to somebody. Am I a movie star? Am I out there getting myself in front of millions and millions of people and changing millions of people's lives? This was, back 6 years ago. And no, I'm not that, but there's somebody in my life that I'm a hero to. And that really was what helped me to keep putting one foot in front of the other. So I found my purpose, right? Or I found my reason for putting one step in front of the other. And that's what's helped me go, to keep going. That's what's helped me to keep determined. That's what's helped me to keep my fire alive. I'm 58 years old. I'm not getting any younger. And I got to tell you that when I take that last breath, I want to say, wow, I lived. And fear riddled me and it stopped me from living my life for 51 years. Now at 51, Mark, I decided to do something kind of crazy. And I decided to face one fear every single day for a whole year. And I embarked on that journey and my whole life changed. I used to have a tremendous, tremendous fear of judgment, which is the number one fear, worldwide, the fear of judgment. And I have completely rid myself of that fear of judgment. Now I do things because I want to do them. And you know what? I may look silly doing them. Somebody might talk about me behind my back or even to my face. And you know what? It does not faze me at all because that's their idea and that's fine. It just doesn't faze me anymore. And I say, you know what? I'm showing up as me and I'm saying the things that I want to say because this is what I want to do. And I also know that I'm inspiring and motivating others to do that. And so that's what fuels me. It's not like worrying about what are people going to think about what I say. I say goofy things all the time. And sometimes things come out of my mouth that really shouldn't, but they do. And do I have excuses as to why? No, it's what I was thinking. And that's why I said it. And you know what? Just stepping in and saying, this is who I am. Love me, leave me. Either way, I'm still me. And that was huge. That was the biggest change I've ever made in my entire life. And I'm so grateful to myself for giving myself that gift.
You took your power back.
Yeah. When you come out of the womb, you're screaming. And then we're told, like, don't say that. You're going to hurt their feelings. We're told all these things that we shouldn't do. And then we believe that to be true. Do I say things that are hurtful to people? If I do, it's never intentional. But people have their own filter and they're living their own lives based on their own past. So if I say something and it hurts one person, another person sitting there might be like, wow, that's brilliant. Thanks for saying that. So who am I going to choose? I'm going to choose the one that's going to see it as a way to better themselves or a way to, maybe move them to that next level in their life or to break through their own fears, whatever it is. So there's going to be the goods and the bads. People are going to interpret things either way. And as long as I don't let it stop me from being me, it's okay. It's okay.
So at 51, you were able to basically crush that glass door and you took your power back. And now here you are, author of multiple books, invited to be on stage, public speaking. And you look at yourself now, you go, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah. There's this saying, it only took me 30 years to become an overnight success, So I am that, like the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years of cultivating, of watering it, and nothing sprouts out. But then the day it sprouts, it takes 5 weeks for it to grow to 80 feet tall. That's me. I remember in my 5th year of this journey, I was like, I am the Chinese bamboo tree. And here I am, I'm sprouting and now I'm growing, so that's where I am. So I am the example of a person who is that Chinese bamboo tree. It's taken years to get here, but the journey was necessary. in order for me to have the confidence I have today, to be able to stand up and say, here I am, love me, leave me. Either way, it's great. I'm still me. It took years for me to get there, but I'm so glad for that journey. It's been incredible.
I can see the strength you have now. It's just you're probably not even that little girl anymore. Because if you have a conversation with that little girl to now, you'd be like, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You'll get through this adversity.
Great.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
You can be beyond your wildest dream because now you have a life that you're getting your phone's blowing up every day because you're on your, I forget how many books now, but it's just so many. I lose track. And you're so busy on Facebook and your groups and all your collaboration meetings and stuff. And I'm sure you're on Zoom all day long now because you're a busy woman. I mean, what does your day look like now that you've done everything? And just explain a day. What's going on in your day life now that you got all this stuff happening? What's the activity like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've always been a night owl. My whole life, I was a night owl. Even in high school, I would stay up till 2 a.m. and then, get up in the morning to go to school. But 2 years ago, I made a decision that I was going to become an early bird. And it's kind of funny that they're both birds, an owl and an early bird. And so I decided to become an early bird. And one morning I set I went to bed like 10 o'clock that night. That was early for me. And I set my alarm for 4:30 in the morning and decided that was my new wake up time. And so I started waking up at 4:30 in the morning and it was instant. I didn't do a gradual. No, I'm one of those who I make a decision and here we go. Let's go. And so I started, becoming that early bird. But my days do vary and it's based on what's going on that day. I am in the process, the publishing company, Women Action Takers Publishing, is really an announcement I just made about 3 weeks ago that I'm going to move into that. And so what I'm in the process of doing right now is, dumping some of the things that I was doing that aren't working and, really, really focusing on the publishing, which is exciting because I have a grand vision for what this publishing house looks like. And for the first time in my life, I actually see myself leaving behind a legacy. And so a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now is, planning. How am I making that happen? Hopping on calls. I'm on calls all the time. Like you mentioned, I'm on Zoom or on the phone constantly, connecting with people to see, who's interested in being in one of these collaboration books that I'm working on, because I have a Women Action Takers series of collaboration books coming up, a bunch of different titles. So who's interested in being on that and connecting with them related to that? And, just how can I help them to share their story with the world? And that's what it's all about. So the day in the life of Lynda, it's varied. Every day is different, but every day is super exciting because I know that every day I'm getting closer and closer to my ultimate goals, which is, leaving that legacy behind when I'm gone.
You said a key thing that you have a very busy schedule, and most people that are very successful, they've mastered their calendar. They control their calendar, and people that aren't busy, they just work their day job and they go home, and it seems like you got a full day and it just keeps going.
Yeah. And here's the thing is I feel it with what I want, and that's the beauty of it. I think that's what really keeps me inspired and motivated myself. I'm able to, I have become my own best cheerleader. I was my own worst enemy for decades, but I've become my own best cheerleader. My calendar is actually part of the cheerleader part because I look at my calendar and I'm like, oh, good, I get to do this today. I'm excited about every day and what's what's in front of me. And it really drives me to keep moving forward. They talk about work-life balance. That phrase, in my opinion, work-life balance was created for the person who's working in the corporate world, because when they leave their job, they need to balance out their life. And you know what? My life is way off balance in the positive. And I don't think I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't need to level it out. I want it to be way off kilter for the rest of my life. That's how I see it.
So you think the work-life balance is probably something that the corporate people use for their lives because they were working 40, 50, 80 hours a week. And that's where that coin phrase came from. That makes sense. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
that makes
that's my
sense.
Belief. As a person who was in corporate for 36 years, oh God, it's Monday. Oh, yay, it's Friday. Oh, it's Monday. Oh, good. We got a 3-day weekend. Oh, Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday of the year because I get 4 days off of work. It's like everything was centered around that work day. you know. I could not wait to get out of there, punching the clock, whether you're a physical clock or not, you know, punching that clock and, oh, I got to sit in the traffic and drive to work. Everything was what I had to do. Now, there are people who love their job, and that's awesome. I was not one of them.
Wow. So now you're enjoying what you're doing now, obviously. You're having a blast, and you're working on your publication company. And what's the next chapter? Just more books? You gonna do anything interesting? You have anything more different, new projects in your horizon that you're working on?
Well, for me, because do you have anything interesting? To me, this is extremely interesting. So, but what I'm working on is I spent the last 7 years in this entrepreneur journey trying to figure out, what do I do? And what am I best at? And what do I absolutely love doing? So the book, you know, bringing the books together, it really fuels me. And, you know, in addition to that is speaking, you know, any opportunities to speak, I'm always there because, you know, if there's an opportunity for me to impart some either knowledge or inspiration to somebody to get them to take action, then I'm there. And that's what I really love doing. And so I say that because I spent so many years doing so many different things that I wasn't focusing on the one thing. There's an acronym for the word focus: follow one course until successful. So here's what instead of looking at all the other things that I could be doing, I'm focusing for the first time in my life, focusing on the one course. So the one course for me right now is the publishing the books. And there will be other avenues as far as, you know, doing summits and speaking and those things. Those will be part of leading to the book. So everything I do will lead to the book. So once that's successful and moving along on its way, then I'll start thinking about the next thing.
Now, you were telling me offline that you get quite a bit of your business from Clubhouse. Is that still ongoing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing. So you got to get the people off of Clubhouse first, but the reason
you have a
why
system in place to do that.
Right. You know, it's like you have landing pages, you have, you know, you telling people to reach out to you, what have you. But the reason, and here's my belief about Clubhouse, for those who don't know what it is, it's an audio app. It's available on both Android and iPhones. But the thing for me about Clubhouse is it's really, truly that opportunity to connect with people. They don't have a judgment about you because they're not seeing you, you know, but they have the judgments are based on your words and the inflection in your voice. So the power of our words are extremely valuable on Clubhouse. And so getting up and sharing stories, this has been something that's been instrumental for me, you know, just sharing those stories and connecting with people. And I like to say it's our relation points that create our relationships. So when I'm telling a story, there's something that somebody might relate to me on, and they're like, oh, I want to reach out to her because I totally relate to that. So it's that relation point that I made in my story that now you're relating to, and you want to create a relationship with me due to that. So Clubhouse is the penultimate. I mean, it's been incredible. 4 times more, like I've quadrupled my business from Clubhouse. And it's all because of getting up on stages and having opportunities to share my story with an audience that I wouldn't otherwise be able to connect with.
Now, here's a question regarding to social media. What platforms have you most benefited from the most? Because you have Instagram, you have Clubhouse, you have LinkedIn, and you got Facebook. As being an author and what you're doing, which platform has? I know a lot of people hang out on LinkedIn and they're going, Clubhouse, what is that? What is your advice?
Find the one that has your audience and really, really focus on that. Again, that focus word, you know, follow one course until successful. If you're on an app that's working, use it. Don't try to go, oh, everybody's saying I got to be on Instagram. I got to do reels. I better get over there, and then go over there and then not do very well. And then somebody else is yelling at the other, you got to get on LinkedIn because that's where your audience is. Find one that works and stay there. For me, Clubhouse has been tremendous. I'm using Clubhouse and LinkedIn. Those are my 2 primaries. So using those 2 platforms, I use them in conjunction with each other. I send people from LinkedIn over to Clubhouse. I send people from Clubhouse over to LinkedIn. So find what works and keep doing it.
There you go, folks. And Lynda, so you said people can find you. You have your website too, right?
Yeah, womenactiontakers.com. Yep, find me there. And then Lynda, Lynda at womenactiontakers.com. And also I'm on all of the socials as Lynda Sunshine West. And again, it's Lynda with a Y. Lynda Sunshine West on all the socials. Just connect with me and let's see what we can do to help you to share your story with the world.
Yeah, folks. So if you're interested in doing collaboration with Lynda, reach out to her. You know where to find me and the podcast and everything. And Lynda's very busy, so we're lucky to have her on the show today because she's got a zillion things going on. She's going to run to many appointments throughout the day. And Lynda, thank you for coming on The Fearless Mindset. We'll have a trailer built for Lynda and a reel for social media, so stay tuned to see that. And we'll increase your followers, we hope. And this has been a great episode. I've gotten a lot out of it, got to learn more about you, Lynda. And thanks for your time, and thanks for having me as a contributing author to the Fearless Entrepreneur book. And it's my first book, so I'm excited for more books coming down in the future. So yay, way to go.
I love that.
We did it.
Yes. Thank you, Mark, so much for having me. And really thank you for sharing your story, because your story is impacting people's lives. And I'm so glad that this is the first of many to come.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Thanks for joining and tuning in on the podcast channel. And we'll be talking with you guys all soon. This is Mark Ludlow, host of The Fearless Mindset.